Russia just revealed fully functioning humanoid robots. Human-like robots entered the office, and they are working. Hey peeps, have you heard about this exciting news that's going on in our world? If not, stay tuned till the end of our video. Welcome back to our channel. Here we're going to discuss fully functioning humanoid robots. Russia has been a tech hero for years, and humanoid robots are their major highlights right now. Let's take a deep dive into it. Startup in Russia Promobot has introduced the world's first self-driving android. It mimics a genuine person and can be used for business purposes. Robo-C is an android clone that can be modified to look like anyone. According to the business, it has an artificial intelligence engine with over 100,000 speech components. It can work as a companion robot at home, reading the news or controlling smart appliances, essentially an anthropomorphic smart speaker. It can also conduct office jobs like answering consumer questions, accepting payments, and performing other functions in places like offices, airports, banks, and museums. November 2019 will be a watershed moment in future history. That's when indistinguishable humanoid robots start roaming the streets of Los Angeles. Well, they do in the seminal sci-fi picture Blade Runner at least. We don't have any deadly androids anymore, 37 years after the film's release. However, we do have androids like Hanson Robotics' Sophia, and they may soon begin performing occupations that were formerly undertaken by humans. Even they got into a news channel. The next exciting news regarding human robots. Let's take a deep dive into it. A human roboid as a news anchor. Artificial intelligence and robotics are constantly advancing. Human employment is already being taken over by robots, and this trend will continue. However, which job they will take remains a point of contention. On Russian 24, a state-owned television channel, a humanoid robot read the news. The silicon-faced host gave some routine updates during a Tuesday afternoon news broadcast on the channel, and even mentioned a bizarre instance in which local authorities were looking for a mayoral candidate who reportedly kicked a homeless cat. Promobot, a Perm-based business that makes service robots with computer screen faces for State Bank Sberbank, created Alex. Alexei Yushkov, the company's co-founder, is modeled on his silicon head. For the time being, the robot can only move sections of its face. The technical team also stated that they're working on a version with moving limbs. Based on data stored in its brain, the humanoid can also answer questions and hold a conversation. It can stimulate emotional emotions because of the 29 motors in its silicon face. Alex was developed for more than 1 million rubles, $15,600 or £12,000, and Promobot stated it has received orders for 12 more humanoids. It's worth noting that the major hero at the Technological Advances Exposition was me, Robot Alex, Alex stated with a smile while delivering a piece about a Moscow artificial intelligence conference. While some social media accused Alex of using his news update to spread political propaganda, others mocked the robot's wooden delivery and weird appearance. Alex was described as a really nice robot by one viewer, while his deployment was described as an interesting trend by another. We all get tired of work at times, right? Now think of a situation where your work is done by a robot. Yes, it's possible. The first humanoid robot to operate in a Russian civil service agency. The Promobot is a Philadelphia-based one. Promobot's most recent robot, a civil servant in Perm, Russia, is firmly in the uncanny valley. The humanoid robot will be able to process documents and submit requests to the local government information system. In February, the startup earned notoriety after dispatching its robots around New York City and asking people about COVID-19 symptoms. It interviewed people about their symptoms, offered virus prevention tips, and distributed face masks, and the corporation claimed to conduct similar surveys in Mexico in March. Promobot was ejected from New York's Bryant Park due to a lack of legal permits. According to Promobot, the robot's looks were based on thousands of women in the Perm area to create a robot that looked like the local populace. Mechanical muscles that allow movement in the eyes, brows, and lips allow it to exhibit the whole spectrum of human emotions and facial expressions, according to Promobot. More than 600 facial expressions are possible thanks to muscles beneath the robot's artificial skin. The robot works in a government institution, answering inquiries that a human would normally answer. It's linked to scanner hardware that can read government documents like passports and birth certificates. Citizens can approach the service counter and begin conversing with the robot as if it were a person. After that, the robot can react, produce the appropriate documents, and scan signed versions into the government system. Other employees are currently testing the robot and providing comments to improve the service. Promobot is best known for its 5-foot-tall robot that roamed Bryant Park and Times Square in March, dispensing coronavirus prevention instructions. It was barred from the park due to a shortage of permits. The next one you're going to know about is something more surprising. Even spacecrafts are getting invaded by robots. Years ago, a Russian Soyuz spacecraft launched from Kazakhstan for the International Space Station with a solitary, odd passenger, a humanoid robot sitting in the crew capsule's commander's chair. Skybot F-850 is one of the most recent versions of Russia's Fedor robots, created as all-purpose stand-ins for people in everything from rescue work to driving vehicles, and even space travel. The Skybot, which monitors and reports on circumstances during the otherwise uncrewed trip, including the stresses on the spacecraft as it enters orbit and the start of zero gravity, is the first time a robot has taken the commander's place in a Soyuz. Since 2014, Russia has been developing Fedor robots. According to Bloshenko, the Skybot version that will fly to the ISS comprises durable materials that can survive vibrations during launch and the demands of space operations. Special movement algorithms have also been implemented, and the Skybot's operations will be purposely constrained to avoid accidentally causing damage to the ISS. Skybot F-850, Russia's humanoid robot, returned to Earth after a brief stint aboard the International Space Station, stowed inside a Soyuz spacecraft with no crew. During its 2-week stay on the station, the Russian cosmonaut team put Skybot, formerly known as Fedor, through a battery of tests to see if it might help free up time for those aboard the orbiting lab. Skybot's journey to the space station served as a test. The robot took off alone on a new type of rocket in a passenger version of the Soyuz spacecraft. Russia plans to use this rocket to launch human personnel into orbit shortly, and it wanted to make sure the capsule and the booster worked well together before putting humans on board. The launch went off without a hitch, but the Soyuz capsule carrying Skybot had trouble connecting to the ISS once in orbit. It attempted to dock to the station independently, but had to cancel its initial attempt due to a problem with one of the ISS external ports. The station's crew had to transfer another visiting spacecraft to make room for the Soyuz. That eventually succeeded, and Skybot arrived 4 days after the original 2-day launch. Skybot possesses a wide range of abilities on Earth, including driving cars and even shooting guns. However, those activities were not planned during the robot's stay on the ISS. Instead, the android practiced cosmonaut tasks like working with tools and attaching hardware. Even in microgravity, several of the tests appeared to be relatively successful. Vladimir Putin has presented his frightening new robotic bureaucrats, which will fill critical government positions in the future. Dasha, a female robot, was also demonstrated. According to one insider, the humanoids' advantages in the job include their immunity to COVID-19 and the fact that they don't take bribes. We've talked about Alex earlier, and here's something more about it. The lifelike Alex was tested at Putin's Eastern Economic Forum, which kicked off this week in Vladivostok, which the Kremlin hopes would become a new cybernetic metropolis on the Pacific border. According to rumors, comparable robots have already been employed as state service centers in Perm, dubbed the ideal office worker. In Yekaterinburg, another will soon take over from a human in a similar job. It's alleged that they check documents and communicate with citizens. Alex, the humanoid robot, declared, "I'm never late, never distracted, I don't take vacations." When the robot was requested to demonstrate a heart, he said, "No problem," and then drew an air heart. The robots are from Promobot, a market leader, and have blue eyes and human-like skin that is as cold as ice. Unlike humans, robots don't need to spend time learning or retaining material. The gadget practically retains everything they're taught, says the researcher Oleg Kivakurtsev, Promobot's development director and co-founder. This is what's going around us. We're sure that you guys are really surprised. We'll be back with another video for you tech enthusiasts.